In the noisy and busy city of Lagos, 10-year-old Emeka lived in a small apartment with his parents. It was not a big house, but it was filled with love. His father worked as a bus driver, waking up very early every morning to take people around the city. His mother sold akara and bread in the market to help pay for Emeka's school. Emeka loved his parents very much. They worked hard to give him a good life. But there was one thing he did not like: coming home to an empty house after school. Every day, after school, Emeka would unlock the door and step into the quiet house. His mother always left him some food on the table with a small note. "Eat well, my son, I will see you soon. Love, Mama." But the silence in the house made him feel lonely and scared. One evening, as they ate dinner together, Emeka said, "Mama, I don't like being alone after school. It feels scary when there's no one at home." His mother looked at him with soft eyes and held his hand. "I know, my son," she said kindly, "but your papa and I have to work hard. We do this so you can have a bright future." Emeka nodded. He understood, but it didn't stop the sad feeling in his heart. The next morning, as Emeka tied his school shoes, his mother smiled at him. "Emeka, I have something to tell you," she said. "What is it, Mama?" Emeka asked, curious. "I spoke to Auntie Grace, our neighbor. You know her, right? She's always kind to us." "Yes, Mama, I know her," Emeka said, thinking of the woman who lived a few doors away. Auntie Grace was friendly and always brought food to their family during parties. "She said she can look after you after school so you won't be alone anymore," Mama explained. "You can go to her house until I come back from the market." Emeka nodded. "Okay, Mama, I think that's a good idea." That afternoon, when school was over, Emeka went to Auntie Grace's house. She greeted him with a big smile. "Ah, Emeka! Welcome, my boy. How was school today?" "It was good, Auntie," Emeka said shyly. Come in," Auntie Grace said warmly. She gave him a big plate of jollof rice, and Emeka ate happily. After eating, he watched cartoons on her big television. Over the next few days, Emeka started to enjoy going to Auntie Grace's house. She always had delicious food for him and sometimes helped him with his homework. The afternoons didn't feel so lonely anymore, and Emeka felt happier. One day, after finishing his homework, Auntie Grace called Emeka to sit next to her on the couch. Her smile was big, but something about it made Emeka feel a little uneasy. "Emeka," she said softly, "do you want to play a special game? It's just for us. Don't tell anyone, okay?" "What kind of game, Auntie?" Emeka asked, looking confused. "You'll see," she said, her voice sweet but strange. When the game started, Emeka didn't like it. It made him feel uncomfortable and scared. "I don't want to play this game," he said quietly, moving away. Auntie Grace frowned but then smiled again. "It's okay," she said gently. "You'll understand when you're older. Just don't tell anyone, all right? This is our secret." That night, Emeka couldn't sleep. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling, feeling confused and scared. He didn't want to go back to Auntie Grace's house, but he didn't know how to tell his parents. After that day, Emeka changed. He stopped laughing with his friends at school. He didn't want to play football anymore, and even his favorite foods didn't taste good. His teacher, Mrs. Daniels, noticed something was wrong. One day after class, she called him to her desk. "Emeka, is everything okay? You've been so quiet lately," she said kindly. Emeka looked down at the floor. "I'm fine," he mumbled, not meeting her eyes, but Mrs. Daniels didn't believe him. "If something is bothering you, you can tell me," she said. "I'm here to help." At home, Emeka's mother also noticed that he was different. "Emeka, are you feeling sick?" she asked one evening. "No, Mama," Emeka said, barely touching his dinner. But inside, Emeka felt like he was carrying a heavy secret. He wanted to tell someone, but he was too scared. What if no one believed him? What if he got in trouble? Speaking up one afternoon, Mrs. Daniels called Emeka to her desk again. This time, she knelt down so she could look him in the eyes. "Emeka," she said gently, "I can see that something is bothering you. You can trust me. I want to help you." Tears welled up in Emeka's eyes. His lips trembled as he whispered, "Auntie Grace makes me play a game I don't like." Mrs. Daniels' face grew serious, but her voice stayed calm. "Thank you for telling me, Emeka. You are very brave. This is not your fault, and I will make sure you get help." Mrs. Daniels went straight to the school principal and told her what Emeka had said. The principal called Emeka's parents to the school. When they heard what happened, they were shocked and heartbroken. Emeka's mother held him tightly. "Oh, my son, I am so sorry. We didn't know," she said, crying. His father looked at him with sadness in his eyes. "We should have been there for you," he said. The family reported Auntie Grace to the police. She was arrested, and the neighbors were shocked when they heard what she had done. After Auntie Grace was gone, Emeka's parents made a promise to him. "One of us will always be home when you finish school," his father said firmly. "We will never leave you alone again," his mother added. Emeka also started seeing a counselor. At first, it was hard for him to talk, but slowly he began to open up. The counselor helped him understand that what happened wasn't his fault and that he was not alone. Over time, Emeka began to feel better. He stopped wetting the bed and started laughing with his friends again. One sunny afternoon, during a football match, he scored a goal and his whole team cheered for him. After the game, Emeka went to Mrs. Daniels. "Thank you for helping me," he said quietly. Mrs. Daniels smiled warmly. "You're very brave, Emeka. Remember, if something feels wrong, always tell someone. There will always be someone who will listen and help." Emeka nodded. He now knew that no matter how scary a problem might seem, it's always better to speak up.